companions, welcome. I have a special fascination with giraffes. They are astonishing animals. The big bulls can weigh more than 1.6 tons. That is more than 6 times heavier than the next group of large savanna antelope, including sable and roan and waterbuck and kudu and so on, where the big bulls come in at about 300 kilograms. They're incredibly tall. They seem to be stretched vertically while their horizontal proportions were held in place. and a big bull can be around 6 meters tall almost. One would think that they would be very vulnerable having such almost grotesque proportions. Yet they thrive in the dry woodland savanna that they prefer as habitat. Their construction, the way they walk with 2 legs on the same side moving forward simultaneously, and the way they balance the movement of their huge lower limbs with their necks when they run, and all done so elegantly. Their incredibly long tongues that they stick out and curl around saplings and strip off the leaves. And they sort out the twigs and so on in their mouth and drop. To me as an engineer, they are just marvels of biological engineering. There aren't very many of them in this part of the wilderness, but Masada and I came across their tracks every now and again. And one afternoon, when I went for a walk alone, I found some really fresh tracks. This is what they look like. They're not particularly big tracks. A big bull could be almost twice that size, but they were very fresh. So I decided I'm going to track them to see if I could catch up with them and maybe get a nice view of them. Now, I have to tell you that giraffe are very difficult to approach on foot in the bush. They have got very keen senses, and they are usually in a small herd, which means they got several individuals watching out. And of course, they have the big advantage of height, so they can see over the vegetation. It's hard to find cover that will conceal you from them. Something interesting about the herds. They are not a close association, because sometimes different herds arrive at the same spot. They mix together. And when they leave, the herd contains different individuals. And individuals come and go all the time. It's a mixture of mature cows and young and bulls and so on. Sometimes cows that have young of roughly the same age will band together in a small herd, and there doesn't appear to be any hierarchy or any formal organization. Although they sleep during the night and they rest during the hot part of the day, and then they tend to arrange themselves to look outwards from the center. So it's interesting how they arrive at this organization in such an informal setup. They also don't defend territory. They're completely non-territorial. In fact, I get the impression that these herds are formed primarily for protection. Anyway, I tracked this small herd, and I was lucky to get up close to them from behind and spot them before they saw me. Part of the reason is that I was downwind from them, and it's quite a brisk breeze, so the wind made a bit of noise in the leaves, and they were all facing to the front, and I was able to approach quite close. And here's a little video. I was very lucky to spot them. They're moving away from me, and they seem to be facing towards the front. And so I'm able to get up a little bit closer. I'm going to try. I managed to get a bit closer now, and they're about 40 meters away, but the cow on the left has already spotted me, and she snorted, and they're moving away now. So this is the end of it. But I disengaged from them, and then I went off to the right and approached at a different angle, still upwind, and then I was able to get close to these 2 cows. I got a screenshot just before they disappeared into the vegetation. Giraffe, of course, feed off the tops of the trees where the other antelopes can't reach, and they, of course, take the seeds from there, which they then spread. And they don't need a lot of water. They can, in fact, survive without water. They will drink when there is water, but they can survive without water just from the moisture they get from their food, and of course they can metabolize water as well. They will take minerals. When they do, they place their legs wide apart, their front legs, and they bend them at the knees, and then they lower their head and they lick up the soil and chew it. Of course, you know that they've got these special valves in their neck arteries to prevent them from passing out when they suddenly pick up their heads when they get a fright or such. Giraffes have got only two predators, man and lions, and they are formidable prey for lions. It has to be 3, 4, even then. A giraffe can severely injure a lion. In fact, they have been known to kill lions with a kick or a chop from their front hooves. But the lions team up and they distract them from the front, and then they jump onto them from the back, and they keep on harassing them and wearing them down, and eventually they jump onto their backs and they throw them off balance with their weight. And the moment the giraffe falls, of course, then it's over, because then another one will grab it by the throat and throttle it. Giraffes do not have a specific calving season like, for instance, impala or wildebeest or zebra or so. They calve right through the year. But their mating is influenced by the season, so they won't mate when they don't feel the season is favorable. And they have a very long gestation period, the longest of all the antelope, something like 18 months or so. Interestingly, the calf, although it can move about within hours, doesn't follow the mother. It's left behind, it hides, and then the mother comes to it to feed it. And she makes a low whistle to call it when she comes close. And then it goes back into hiding for a few weeks until it's much stronger, and then they will join the mother and move around with her. Companions, I hope you enjoy these few facts about giraffe. To me, one of the most fascinating animals on the savannah. And I hope you will join me again next week. Good luck until then.